Oh, geez. Okay.
Hi.
So there's Amanda and Ryan, me and Dakota, Leanne, Chelsea, Cameron, Cal. 8 people.
All right, thank you everyone for coming. I know you're all excited. In a society where we follow every move celebrities make, professional athletes have realized that they can actually say meaningful things that we'll listen to. So why is a professional athlete kneeling for the national anthem such a big deal? Why have so many fans become so divided on whether or not to continue to support their team? I have been an avid follower of the NFL for years and have read a lot about the protests happening in football. Every day I see more and more articles about this issue. I have seen that regardless of fans' opinion on the protests, most people just want the athletes to compete. Staying quiet is something that is becoming harder for these competitors to do. This should not impede our enjoyment of the sport. For many fans, sports are an escape from everyday life. Football has long been one of the most popular sports in America, and even those who never watch football seem to have a strong stance on the anthem protests. Today I'm going to talk about the current climate in the NFL and the need for understanding in the sports world. So why is kneeling for the national anthem such a bad thing? Players have the right to peacefully protest. Colin Kaepernick originally began sitting for the national anthem, but changed to kneeling to show more respect while still protesting. Whether or not you like the form of protest or the message, players have the right to kneel for the anthem. A rule was considered to make players stand for the national anthem, but was not implemented. Players will not be fined for kneeling, despite what President Trump desires. Many of the NFL owners want their players to stand for the national anthem, but are okay with the players kneeling. Only Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys has come out and said that his players need to stand if they want to play. If the owners allow it, the players will continue to kneel. After the anthem is done, it is business as usual for most players. The games continue as normal. It is the same old game that we have come to know and love. The protests will continue and others will start in the future. Muhammad Ali, who is now called a hero, refused the draft during the Vietnam War. Athletes are people with beliefs just like us, and they have protested in the past and will protest in the future because they know that they can affect change. Being in the spotlight gives them a platform that they will continue to use when they see fit to do so. The fans' response will hardly affect what athletes will say and do. Muhammad Ali's refusal of the draft was not viewed in a good light in his day, and he continued to fight. Resistance does not matter much to athletes who have a strong conviction. Athletes don't want to be mindless machines playing a game. They have beliefs they have a right to follow. So what do the fans think about all of this? Fans tune in to watch sports, not politics. Many fans agree that athletes have a right to voice their opinion, but they watch sports to forget about the outside world. Sports have long been a way for people to leave work and other stresses behind. Despite football being a very stress-inducing game, it helps many people relieve the stresses of everyday life. Even for those who enjoy politics, today's rhetoric has caused many to turn away from the constant arguing by politicians. Now that football players are bringing politics into the game, fans are finding that they can't get away from politics anymore. With the most recent election, it seems that politics is dividing the country now more than ever. In fact, according to the Washington Post, there is data that suggests this. It states that there has been a sharp spike in the contempt that partisans express for their opponents. According to Pew Research Center polling, more than 4 in 10 Democrats and Republicans say the other party's policies are so misguided that they pose a threat to the nation. I think we can all agree that being so strongly divided is not what we need as a country. The thing that once served as a way to unify us has now been merged with what divides us. Most everyone I know has some kind of strong opinion on the NFL right now. Some fans have even burned jerseys from the protesting. Fans want to be united while watching football and forget about what divides us. I believe that sports can still be a tool to unify millions of people. A love for football can unify fans and players alike. The flag itself has served as a symbol of unity, but is not the only thing that unifies us. In our darkest times, sports can heal, inspire, and unify us. In the aftermath of Hurricane Harvey, the Houston Astros were forced to play some of their games away from home while the water receded. In their emotional return to play in Houston, the Astros swept the New York Mets. After honoring the first responders and all those who were helping their city, the Astros gave that city a short break from the tragedy that they were experiencing. Richard Justice of MLB.com states, "When this happens, we are not divided by politics or religion or race or anything else. We are one, at least for a time." The Astros have continued to inspire the city of Houston after winning their first World Series championship in franchise history. Their resilience in baseball inspires the citizens in Houston and around the country to continue their own fight through adversity. J.J. Watt of the Houston Texans raised millions and millions of dollars for the city as they began their recovery from the flooding. He used his platform as an athlete to help unify and rebuild his community. Sports often gives us a sense of normalcy when tragic events come our way. Sports are there day after day, year after year. They inspire us to keep living our life even when we find it difficult. There was always the hope that your team, no matter how bad they were the year before, can win the championship. Such is the hope that in our own lives we can always succeed despite our past. Even when the politics in sports receives more coverage than we would like, we shouldn't let that get in the way of the games that we love. Despite what we hear in politics, we can be civil and respect what other people believe, and that they believe different things than we do. The idea that sports unifies us implies that we are divided in some things. We are all different, and that is what makes sports so special, that we can all be united in support of something, no matter how insignificant it is. Nate Boyer, a former Green Beret and former football player, thinks that President Trump and Colin Kaepernick should sit down and talk about the issue themselves. Whether this happens or not, we can come together and unify using the very thing that is dividing us. We shouldn't tune out because of the protests, but remember that our many differences being unified together behind one thing is what makes sports so special. We know we will always disagree on something, so let's unify behind what we love. Today's athletes will continue to speak out, but that by no means is reason for us to stop watching sports. Athletes have a right to speak and protest, and that is something that we should always respect. Sports can still be an escape from everyday life and a way to unify people of all beliefs. Let's let sports do what they do best, unify and inspire us to become something better together than we are individually.